The next story is a video that I can't play because Ethan Klein said something that I'm surprised he didn't get banned over, which I'm not going to be able to play, but I can basically tell you what he said. Left-wing YouTube star Ethan Klein muses about another Holocaust against the Jews and says he hopes Ben Shapiro is killed first. Yeah.
It's crazy. What show is this on?
It's his show, H3TV.
And they cut the feed.
Well, that's his producers because he's done stuff like this before where he's gotten suspended and banned for it or strikes. Themselves. Yeah, so I'll without playing what he says verbatim, because look, I think we'd get a strike if we played what Ethan Klein said, YouTube would strike us.
Right. You can probably play up right to the point where they cut right there.
Nah,
you don't think
but
so?
Look, I can do this. I can move it forward. He starts saying it.
Yeah.
His own producer then technical difficulties, please stand by, because there was another point where he called for an act of terror on Republicans.
Right.
I'm not exaggerating. Right. He literally said people should, go commit an act of terror. Right. And then he's like, okay, got a little carried away there. Mm-hmm. They bring it back. And then apparently after they bring it back, he just keeps talking.
He just says it again.
He says it again.
Yeah.
He clarifies.
Yeah.
So he was intimating that if there was another Holocaust, Ben should be the first one.
He said he hopes it's Ben first.
Now, that's something we said before the show. If him and Ben and a few other friends, they were all friends, hanging out in their room, playing cards or whatever, and then he said it as a joke, and they all laughed about, like, Ben's the guy that should get, and there was like, haha. But you get on TV when the guy's not even there to defend him, so that's a crazy thing to say.
Right.
Yeah. And he's also called for acts of terror against Republicans.
It's so weird. It's not funny.
Like, dude, these people are dangerous and insane.
Seriously.
I'm well past caring about their opinions. It's been years. There are so many people who try to play this middle of the road thing where they're like, well, let's hear what they have to say. I'm like, dude called for a terror attack on a convention. Mm-hmm. He's now saying he hopes Ben gets gassed first. These people are nuts. And this is, I don't know if he's going to get banned over this.
He won't.
I doubt it.
Well, he did get a strike from the terror attack one.
Yeah, I mean, that one was a direct call to violence. This, I guess, would be a little more indirect. They get the weeds.
I don't think he should get a strike. Yeah. My point on this is basically just that the rules are in place because of people like him and other leftists. So based on what they expect, they should get a strike based on their own principles and own rules. But they don't have this. Their morality is whoever can accrue the most power. It's fascistic. The late David Graeber said that an element of the left has adopted the fascistic tenet of there is no truth but power. And that's clearly on display with people like him. Mm-hmm. When he got a strike for calling for an act of terror, he acted like he was outraged. Oh, are you kidding, dude? Even I think that should have been a strike. I'm all about free speech, but if you tell your audience to go and do murders, I think they should at the very least, be like, hey, we're taking that episode down. You shouldn't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. This is modern politics for you. Where does this standard bring us?
I err on the side of free speech for sure, and I don't want the feds being like, "Oh, we got a just cause now to go take this guy and unperson him." I don't like that stuff, man. I'd rather just work it out with Ethan. Like, he's stressed out. He's saying dumb stuff on the internet. And I'd rather work it out than cause more of it.
I can't How are you going to work it out with someone like that? Sorry.
I can't believe I'm saying I kind of agree with you. If people want to be ridiculous, sensationalistic, bombastic, and idiots, I think let them and let people know exactly where they stand. But I think the problem, Ian, is that, he gets to do this. He gets to get away with this. He gets to hang out with Susan Wojcicki. Yeah. Someone on the other political spectrum or someone questioning the establishment sneezes the wrong way, automatically downranked in the algorithm, demonetized, screwed over, shut down, deleted, and censored in many instances for just expressing political thought and ideas, not calling for violence, not calling for anyone to be thrown in the chambers. And there's an unfair balance here, which I think is the critique here that is fair to make here. But at the end of the day, I stand with you. Let people say whatever ridiculous, crazy stuff that they want. And let us know where people are really coming from. This is where he's coming from, and it's important to know. Agree or disagree? So the conversation should happen.
I do agree, and I think his opinion is not a call to violence. It's an expression of a desire for genocide, and a prominent individual to be killed. And so I think that's horrifying. I think what his point he's trying to make is, I'd be willing to bet, because I'm going to give him at least as much. The full context is something like the right is anti-Semitic, Kanye West, and that's why it comes up. Mm-hmm. And then he probably said, yeah, well, you know what? If it happens, it's because of them, so I hope. That's what I think the context probably is. I ultimately don't care. It's an insane thing to say. I hope Ethan Klein lives a long and healthy and happy life. I say that about people I don't like all the time. I say, look, I don't like what they do, but I wish them the best. I hope they have a happy, healthy life, and we find a way to live together peacefully. Here's the issue. No one is going to come after him. He's not going to get censored. The rules don't apply to him. He's going to get away with it. His followers are going to laugh and enjoy it. You get people like Hassan. He's a socialist, and he buys a multi-million-dollar property. He advocates for policies to destroy the working class and the middle class, and then he uses that wealth to buy fanciful and grandiose things. They are both part of a faction that advocate for censorship of people they don't like, and they get away with it. Yeah. Now, in the end, even if they come out and they're like, oh, we're being edgy, we're making jokes, and we agree they should be allowed to, the problem is these people would laugh when you got banned, and we here today are defending their right to free speech.
And they do. As someone who has dealt with a lot of censorship and banned from companies, I'm well aware that, yes, it pleases the other side when they see it. And again, we get banned for sneezing. Or the reality is we get banned for things and they refuse to tell you what you did. Right, because they don't want to put that in writing. That happened to us recently.
I want to point out
to
people are mentioning this too. No, Ethan Klein is Jewish, right?
He is, yes. Ashkenazi.
Yeah. Him saying this, I understand the point he's trying to make, but it's just like
it's still wild,
such a disgusting and vile and insane thing to say. I'm just
crazy.
Look, I think he and all the other psychopaths should be allowed to express this so we know who the crazy people are. My point here is just the double standard.
We would have, when I was administrating at Mines, we would have these weird situations every once in a while come up where like someone, and it didn't happen much and it didn't happen to a point where I felt really bad about it, but like a really popular person on the website would do something that violated the terms of service or that I thought was like, whoa, this is coming close. And I'm like, what do? Do I ban our cash cow? Because the reason Mines is solvent right now is because we have a lot of views. The reason we have a lot of views is because of our popular video makers. Do I ban the biggest cash cow? And it's like, if I don't, then I'm letting fascism take over. I'm letting the money and the corporation take my morals and ethics away. And if I do, then the company goes under. What are my two choices here?
Yeah.
That's a weird position to be in as an administrator.
When I said people were censored for sneezing the wrong way, I wasn't kidding. As you were mentioning, Seth, people got censored, people got banned, people got their whole livelihoods deleted because of vague terms and services that were just there, and then people were like, "Wait, what exactly did you destroy my livelihood for?" No, we're not going to tell you. We just have these vague rules with these overgeneralizations, and we're going to punish you because you expressed political thoughts that we don't like. And it's not like they even give you any kind of ability to redeem yourself. It's not like they give you any kind of ability to fix your problem. No. But we have this on the other spectrum. And again, I used to watch Ethan Klein many years ago. He was interesting. He was creative. He actually did content that was engaging. And I don't know what happened to the guy, but it's sad to kind of see this because this could also be an attempt to try to get attention, to try to say something shocking so more people pay attention to you. We are talking about him right now, but I think he has strayed off a long way from where he was before, where he actually was enjoying this. He definitely doesn't look like he's enjoying this. I wish the guy luck. I wish he could, get in shape.
I'll tell you what it is. I think it's simple.
It's not good watching this.
Politics is pop culture. For somebody like me, my whole life has been politics. When I was a little kid, I work at my family's business. It was on North Halsted. It was Boys Town in Chicago. So all of a sudden, I'm hearing all about these issues with LGBT pride and stuff like that. I start listening to punk music. All the lyrics are about war and politics. And all of a sudden, I'm on the internet. I've been on the internet my whole life. I'm a little kid. And I'm seeing all of this news, just inundated with it. I work for nonprofits. I do fundraising. It's all activism. I eventually start covering protests on the ground. My whole life is politics. That leads us to where we are right now. Talking about issues that I've talked about my entire life. Having me be able to remember weird things from back in the early 2000s when most people weren't paying attention to politics at all. Ethan Klein was a comedy, edgy YouTuber. Yeah. And then at some point, pop culture turned into politics, which was huge for us. All of a sudden, I just talk about politics all the time, getting a bunch more viewers, rivaling some of the biggest entertainment podcasts. Even Joe Rogan is now a largely political show, even though he's a comedian. Ethan Klein needs to adapt. He needs to start adopting politics. Otherwise, he's becoming stale and not current, right? The news, Trump, that's all it was. This is what happened to everyone. It's not just him. Now, he has on Jordan Peterson on his show. He has Jordan Peterson on his show.
Yeah.
What happens? For the most part, it's fine. Yeah. But over time, he starts feeling the heat because his fan base was mixed politically because it was edgy comedy. Right. And now as time's changing, a large portion of his base, probably skewing younger, they start getting angrier and more self-righteous. Mm-hmm. So he deletes the Jordan Peterson episodes. He apologizes that it was wrong. Makes no sense.
Yeah.
And now he's like, if I'm going to be relevant, we have to talk politics. And thus, Ethan Klein, who knows almost nothing about politics, is having a conversation with Ben Shapiro, who has been a political commentator for decades and has a law degree. There's clearly a problem here with politics becoming pop culture. Someone who has no idea what's going on, saying they hope someone who is overtly political gets killed first in a new Holocaust is just absolutely insane. But he's entitled to his opinion. He's entitled to try and make his show political. And it's clear that he just went, modern, leftist, woke, whatever. It's the easy route. When you don't really know what's going on, it's simple. You believe Jussie Smollett, which most of these leftists do. You believe Ukraine Gate. You believe Russia Gate. You believe Trayvon, the hands up, don't shoot. Covington Catholic. I love saying the list over and over again. Bubba Wallace. The garage pole rope, they love believing this stuff because they are low information individuals, but they're also extremely dangerous, violent, and angry people. They want you to just fit in. The crowd is doing it. Why won't you? Everyone is saying this is the truth. Why won't you? Well, because there is a truth. I don't care what you think it is. Yes. 2 + 2 = 4, not 5. Shut up.
I kind of will double down that I think there's a saying, with great power comes great responsibility, and with 10 million followers, that's a form of great power. And so the things you would say with your friends in your bedroom or in your living room when you're playing, Super Nintendo or whatever the hell, insults, dirty jokes, you don't say that to 10 million people on TV because you have a greater responsibility not to be derogatory. I know you want to because it's natural. It's who you were in the past, Ethan, particularly. You probably like me would joke, insult your friends as comedy, but this is taken on another level, brother.
I don't like to talk about other commenters. I mention this from time to time. The Young Turks talks about me all the time, but they'll talk about me saying something banal, I think some women might be unhappy because they want to have families. And then they make this big segment about Tim Pool's a sexist. And I'm like, oh, come on, dude, calm down. I was reading the Washington Post. This is a high profile podcast, which gets tens of millions of views, saying, I hope Ben, I don't even want to read it. I mean, it's just come on, dude. That's crazy.
There's also kind of the Britney Spears effect when it comes to online influencers and a lot of celebrities who take themselves too seriously. I'm not saying that that's what's happening with Ethan Klein, but there is, a lot of people who are in the digital space, who are influenced by the bots, by the comments, and by the people who are part of this. And you do see detrimental mental health effects to this. Is this maybe potentially one of the examples here? I don't know, but this is art unhinged, very emotionally kind of very emotional language that I don't think the average person is going to be okay with.
Yeah, Ladies and gentlemen, crack your beers now because I'm going to say it: Civil War. This is the kind of stuff that I talk about. This is. I mean, look, when security experts say we fear it's coming. When Princeton professors, former CIA, when they're all like, we think we're in the beginning stages of a civil war. And then a guy who used to make comedy videos where he would push out his fupa and pull his chin down and then run around his house as a gag is now saying that he hopes Ben Shapiro is gassed. I'm just like, listen. Do you see the radicalization over the past 10 years? Do you see why I might think we're heading to that place? Ethan Klein, for no reason, there is no reason why he, an edgy comedy YouTuber, should be saying anything about Ben Shapiro or Holocausts or politics. But this is what's happened with the radicalization in this country. That's why that's why I think we're heading towards a civil war, or we're in a cold civil war, whatever you want to call it. When comedy edgy boys turn into advocates for, and let me just stress, they tried stopping him. And then he was like, no, and then he said it anyway.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, maybe everything's about to break apart.
Well, it's I agree that it's like a form of radicalization. What's happening is the society is very stressful for a lot of people right now with inflation, with Ukraine, with all this crazy stuff going on. If you don't know the specifics, if you don't understand that Hunter Biden was involved with Burisma, for instance, that Biden's had, you might just look at it and be freaking out and then lashing out, which is what Ethan's doing. Like, he's obviously stressed about society like we are, but we study the intricate details about geopolitics. So I'm not getting radicalized. Like, if I didn't understand what was going on, I'd be freaking out, screaming at people, lashing out. And I think if he were to be more educated, he may be less radical.
His FUPA work, great work.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.